All right, we'll get ready to sign in.
I hate that. Do we all have to do that?
Yeah.
Agree?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a new thing with
Yeah.
Zoom.
That way you know you're being recorded, right?
Exactly. No surprise
Yes.
recordings.
Exactly.
Don't spill all your secrets.
Right.
Nope.
All right, good. Well, I wanted to talk today. We can start out with, I made a few notes here. Let me find them. About starting and restarting, because I know myself, I have restarted more times than I can count on nutrition, on fitness. We will focus more on nutrition tonight, but obviously all of these same things apply. And I thought this video might be helpful as people are rewatching for if they're starting for the first time with Beachbody or, just getting started on whatever is happening. So one of the things I think is important to do as you're starting or restarting is to go back and figure out what was the roadblock that stopped you. So if you had been doing something, what was the thing or things that you felt were hard or made it seem hard so that you were like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Or I don't need to continue. Or what happened to derail you staying on a plan? So I think it's really important to just kind of reflect, see what that is, because that's probably going to come up again, right? If it wasn't resolved, it's probably going to be there still. Could be a mindset, could be like, what are some of the things that have derailed you guys in the past?
The scale.
The scale. Yes, definitely. Not seeing progress on the scale.
When you're doing what you're supposed to. When you're not doing what you're supposed to and the scale has a gain, okay, I accept it. But when I'm doing good and it gains, no, I don't accept that.
Right.
It's not fair. That's a biggie for me.
For me, it's stress. It's usually a trigger, like something happens with family or work or something.
Yeah.
And I want to sit on the couch, binge watch and eat a lot of something.
Right. Yeah, that's what you go to for stress versus making sure the workout gets done, right? Like you go to maybe an old pattern of stress.
Well,
really.
I'll do the workout. Like the workout's not the problem. It's the food.
Okay. Yeah.
I want
Nutrition.
the sensation of the food. I don't know, a comfort in the food.
Comfort, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's boredom. So right now I'm really bored with food because I'm struggling between eating meat and not eating meat. So I just can't find anything that I want to eat. So I'm really bored right now.
Yeah, I feel that too. There's a lot of times where I'm like, I just feel like we're eating the same things and I'm just not excited about what those things are. And that's, yeah, like I'm kind of in that right now, like where I feel like I don't feel like cooking. I don't really know what I want to cook. And then it's like, bleh. And that's so exactly now instead of being prepped ahead now, I'm just kind of going day by day. And it's not as good as it could be.
Right.
Sunday's meal prep was great.
It was. All of my Chipotle chicken was gone by 4 p.m.
Oh, my husband liked that the best. He loved that.
Mine too.
Yep.
If I wanted to make it with pork, how do I pull the pork? What do I get?
Well, a pork loin is kind of hard to shred, but that would be your best option for a lower fat, having a fat ratio being closer to chicken.
You could put that pork
you
loin
can do it. Yeah, they have like the pork loin. What are those called? They look like the pork shoulders, but they're like a pork loin loaf kind of.
Yeah, and you can just put it in the crock pot with an inch or so of water or broth and let it go for a few hours and then just shred it from there.
And even if
I don't have a crock pot, so how else can I do it?
Oh, you could just braise it in the oven for a few hours. When I braise stuff, I'll do like 425 for 30 minutes, and then I'll bring it down to 300 for another 2.5 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I do that with any kind of meat. It works great. And you can chop it if it doesn't shred very well for you, and that'll still work just fine. Because like I chopped my chicken, it wasn't very shreddable at the time, so I just kind of chopped it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say crock pot because that's how I cook all of my roasts, and it just falls apart, and it's so tender whenever you cook it in a crock pot. You know, like on low for about 6 hours. It's amazing. Any roast or meat that you do in the crock pot, and it'll shred without even barely touching it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and Kathy, I'd go toward a pork loin for
Okay.
a leaner cut.
Okay.
Yeah. That
And you
would
know
work.
what, Deanna, I know you tried that chicken shredding that I tried. I didn't like it as well as if I had done it in the crock pot. Like when I've done it with you in the crock pot, it was much better.
Yeah, I actually mine was better than I thought it was going to be. It took me longer to get it up to temperature because I kept checking it with my meat thermometer, and it took a lot longer. But it wasn't nearly as dry as I think if I'd have baked it or something else. So I kind of liked it actually. And then I actually used the liquid from it I put it in my brown rice.
That was a good idea.
So, because it has a little bit of salt and pepper and garlic from what I put in there, and it would have just a little bit of chicken flavor. So,
Hmm.
I think I'm just getting to the point where I don't like the taste of chicken that much. So like
it could be.
I was when I tasted the chicken, I was like, oh no, it needs way more sauce. You know?
Right. You're like, I can still taste the chicken.
Yeah,
So
right.
next time I'm gonna try it with pork. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it would be good.
Mhm.
Definitely. All right. We got a little sidetracked with our Chipotle
Okay.
chicken here. So we figured out the roadblock, maybe something that we felt stopped us, slowed us, hindered us in the past. So figuring out how we can change that, right? Because if there's one thing or two things, something you can pinpoint, it's like figuring out how we can then make it easier on ourselves in this next restart or start, and how we can either eliminate it, make it so it's not a roadblock. I mean, some things it may not be totally gone. If you have a crazy schedule, you're probably not going to be able to take away your entire schedule, right? But how can you make your schedule easier, or how can you be prepared for a busy schedule with maybe meal prepping, or maybe ordering some meals ahead? I know in our group, we've talked a lot about meal services, right? And that's a great way. If you're stuck, you're still going to eat better than if you went through fast food, or you went, and chose something else that was pre-made. So it's trying to do the best you can under your circumstances. So you kind of have to equate your next step to that, right? How can you make it better, easier? And it's one of those things where like Atomic Habits is a great place for all this to come into play, right? Easier, obvious. What are the other two? Anybody? Attractive.
Can't remember.
Can't remember the fourth one, but that's all comes into play with nutrition too. So how can you help yourself do better in the next one? Retrain your mindset, retrain your habit so that it works with this schedule, so that you can still get your good foods in, get your fueling your body instead of getting something fast or grabbing what is ever on the counter. And then I also like to focus on, when groups are getting started, what's going to make the most difference for you? Because sometimes starting a nutrition plan can feel really overwhelming, especially if you haven't followed a plan before, like a UPF or like 2B Mindset. It can feel like there's a lot of pieces. And I think we all know once you get into it, it gets a lot easier and it's understandable. But in the beginning, it can feel like a lot of moving parts. So I like to think about, if dinners are my hardest, right? If that's the one I feel like I'm messing up the most, I'm not staying on plan. How can I fix that? Just that. Or how can I fix my lunches? Like maybe I'm going out to eat every day for lunch because I don't have something ready for lunch. So how can I fix that one piece to start before I move on to that, whole thing or whole plan? And that generally tends to make a big impact so that the other things fall into place a little better. So what would you say is your hardest part for your nutrition? If you were going to work on one thing that would make a big impact.
Dinner,
me-
focusing on dinners now.
Dinner?
For me, it's just being more prepared and food prepping, getting into the habit of doing that because I've always been just a day-to-day person and I absolutely hate grocery shopping. So I like procrastinate with grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to get better at that. That's been a roadblock for me big time. And then I have found in the last couple weeks, I'm falling back into old habits of going and grabbing Subway or, just not being prepared. And I've still managed to lose another 2 or 3 pounds somehow, even not doing things the way that it should be done. But that's a big roadblock for me that I need to fix.
And what about ordering in groceries? Is that an option?
It is an option, but I've done that before and I was really frustrated with it because they gave me like all the wrong stuff, or if they were out
Yeah.
of something, then I'm out of my ingredients and whatever. And so I didn't, so I just decided I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, I know it was really bad in the start of the pandemic because everything was out and it's like you get the weirdest grocery orders. And I wonder now if things are better, or I found like because we were ordering groceries in quite a bit and I think it only ended up being an additional $4 for us to get it delivered, which, I probably would spend more than that on an item I didn't need while I was at the grocery store. But that's definitely an option, right? Because I know I'm kind of the same way, Jamie. I like to fly by the seat of my pants most days. And I have a lot of options available in my kitchen. I always have, some frozen things or some vegetables, but it's always something that has to be made into something. So I have to realize that piece, right? I still have to be prepared and be ready to make something or get it out of the freezer so it thaws. Yeah. Anybody else have their one thing that they, Kim, you had mentioned dinners. Is it having stuff ready?
Well, so that certainly helps if there's something ready. Like this week I prepped on Sunday and then I just prepped again yesterday because we were already out. So, and then I didn't have to make dinner tonight, which was awesome because I already had it. So, but it's just, I think what I've been trying to do this week is plan in the morning what my meals are going to be that day and then stick to the plan and not change it. So,
that's a great one too, because I know a lot of people like you have intention, but if you actually like write out what your plan is for the day or really mental note it, right, what your food plan is, then you don't have to think about it anymore.
yeah.
And
Oh.
Because
you already know it fits what your containers are or your to be mindset, and you can just go and execute.
Right. So, because if I wait till 2 o'clock and start thinking, what am I going to have for dinner? By 2 o'clock, I'm really stressed and I want pancakes for dinner, or I want pasta, like real pasta for dinner, or I want a grilled cheese sandwich for dinner, but if I already have it planned in the morning, then it's not a decision that I'm making, an impulse decision.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of like going to the grocery store hungry, right?
right. It's kind of like that. Yeah. Cause then I'll just like, so like right now I don't have peanut butter in the house. Otherwise I might be like, I'll just have those peanut butter energy balls for dinner because Jose's not coming home tonight. So great. I'll just make a batch and eat all those. And, so this week I got back on track. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so far I'm trying to do a 21-day fix.
Okay.
I got 4 days in.
Awesome. That's good.
So I started listening to Autumn for the monthly fix, and that was one of the things I don't know if anybody else listened to it. That was one of the things she talked about is don't ever go to the grocery store hungry, and have a plan when you go to the store as to what you're going to make and what you're going to buy. Otherwise, you'll just buy everything. And especially you'll buy things that you probably shouldn't be buying. So I didn't finish it. That's as far as I got. So
Yeah, we went to Costco hungry at dinner time. and we ended up bringing a pizza home. So there
Yeah.
you go. I mean, it's just like, that's, it's not the way to stick to the plan.
Right.
I at least have that part down. I'm really good about meal planning, and going to the grocery store and having a list and knowing what I'm going to be making. It's just, I have a really busy schedule. So sometimes it's hard to make it to the grocery store and be prepared. I'll tell you what did get me prepared. I have to share this. So I've been eating a lot healthier, like within the last, couple of months or whatever. And yesterday is a prime example when I had a gyro and I had some potato chips and a peanut butter cup, and it made me so sick. I've been up since like 4:30 this morning. I mean, just sick. I actually had to like cancel appointments day. I think it threw my body into shock. So that motivated me to go to the grocery store today.
Yeah, sometimes that pain is good, right? Because it
Yeah.
reminds you, hey, this isn't actually what your body wants.
Right.
Right.
And we were so conditioned to just have those things. I can feel that if I have too much sugar. I feel it really quickly with a headache, and I just feel so blah and ugh.
That happened to me the other day. I didn't want to do anything. I did like yoga instead of my workout because I did something. But all day, all I wanted to eat was fruit and carbs and cheese. And let me tell you, I paid for it. I was in the bathroom all day yesterday, this morning, but I'm back on track.
And now you'll remember that
Mhm.
you still got to mix in that protein and
Yeah,
get
and I
some
know
good,
the scale
get some
stuff,
veggies in there.
with it because I deserved it. But when I don't deserve it, that's my big thing is the scale. So, and when I'm doing good, I'm going, oh, I can handle the scale, but then I can't.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I have to do to get over that hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to do it, right? Like it's changing your mindset around what the scale means.
Mhm.
And like, I know some people go off it for a while. Maybe they do it at the start of a program and at the end of a program. So they're not doing it in between. Or you just stop it for a while and really just focus on the other pieces, right? Have a piece of clothing that, like a pair of jeans that doesn't change. Yoga pants change with your size. So have like a pair of jeans. Try that on. See how those are going every week. You can take a picture in those jeans. See how they're doing every week. You can do measurements. Whatever kind of works out to help you know that you're progressing, but doesn't give you that negative piece that you're feeling from the scale.
Yeah. I actually have a pair of pants that I love, fit great, and they actually got loose and I had to take them in.
There you go.
But the scale doesn't say that.
Well,
But my
the
clothes
scale's
do.
a liar. It doesn't know all the pieces. It just
Right.
knows one thing. It knows our gravitational pull. That's all it knows.
Right.
It
Mhm.
doesn't know how you feel. It doesn't know your energy. It doesn't know if you have changed some fat into muscle or had a different body composition happen. It just doesn't know.
Actually, my scale does that too. But I
Well,
only do
kind
that
of.
once
I'm
a
gonna
week.
say kind of on that, Kathy, because those are very subjective when they're at home. A DEXA scan is the only way to really have a clear shot at it.
Okay.
They can
Okay.
be very subjective and have a pretty good percentage plus or minus. So
Okay.
depending on how much water you have in you and how hydrated you are and things like that.
Yeah. That's why I don't do it every day because that would really play with my head.
Yeah, and maybe try stopping it for a month. I mean, what's the worst that happens in the month of you continuing to do your workouts, eating according to plan, and what happens if you don't know what your number is?
Yeah. As long as you feel good, you might just keep doing it and not worry about it.
You could try it and see how you feel about it. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody kind of has to figure out what works best for them. I don't get on the scale very often. I don't really care what the number is. So but I do look at like my, whatever workout tracker thing. It tells me how many calories I burn each day. I will look at that and see kind of what I'm averaging to see if it fits with the nutrition plan I'm following. So it's like, I'll look at those kinds of things. I'll see how my clothes are fitting. I'll check in to see how I'm feeling. Like, I know this last couple weeks, I haven't had nearly the amount of energy I normally have, but my food hasn't been as good either. We had a lot of eating out when my parents were here. So, I noticed those things, but the scale for me personally, I really could care less what I weigh.
But did you do the scale at the beginning?
I did while I was losing weight occasionally. I never used it daily.
Really?
No,
Wow. Okay.
because it did make me feel like I was having a bad day, even though it didn't, you know what I mean? Like I would see a number and I'd be disappointed in myself. And I really didn't enjoy that. And I didn't like that my happiness was tied to this number, even though I knew I was doing the things I needed to do.
I found that in the very beginning, whenever I started with Beachbody, I was weighing myself, consistently, and the weight was not coming off, but I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, and I was getting very, very discouraged. So I put the scale away, and I didn't weigh myself for like a month, and then bam, I had lost 14 pounds. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm down almost 20 pounds now.
Oh, congratulations, Jamie. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
When did you
That's
start?
awesome.
Jamie?
Congrats.
When did you
Um,
start, Jamie?
What is it? What, Sue, what do you think? Has it been about 3 months? 3
Yeah,
months?
I think so.
Very
That's
good.
fantastic, because that's more than a pound a week. That's almost 2 pounds a week, and that's great.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The other thing about the scale, like I knew I was one of those people where I'm like, oh, I lost a pound. I can go have that cookie.
Yeah, yeah.
Me
right,
too.
that's true.
And I can't think like that, right? Like I just need to go off how I'm, like, if I'm actually hungry, should I eat? And some of those cues versus did I lose weight or didn't I lose weight to tell me if I should eat or not.
Hmm.
So
One thing that I have found, and I don't know if it's because I am drinking Shakeology regularly or I am eating a lot cleaner, is that I don't have a craving for the sweets like I used to. Like I'm just not interested in it. For example, we went to the grocery store last night and we were standing at the checkout line, and I was, you know how they put the candy like right there at the checkout line. And I was standing there and I was staring at the candy, and I had zero, like there was not an interest in me to like grab like a peanut butter cup or anything. I wasn't like, oh, like maybe I'll eat this. And then of course they had like the potato chips, and I just wasn't interested, and I haven't been. And I've been really like grateful
Wow.
for that and like proud of myself, because it just goes to show, like as you start fueling yourself, your body, and having like the snacks that I have around the house is like cucumbers or green beans or fruit. And I found that that's actually making like a big difference in what my body is craving. Like I was having a really stressful day yesterday, and in the past I would be like, oh, I'm going to eat like chocolate or whatever. But I thought about eating it, but I was like, that I don't even want that. And so I've been very like grateful to see that that's just been like basically just because I don't need that sugar intake anymore. It's not doing anything for me. So I was really grateful.
But there was no
That's
goldfish in
awesome.
front of you.
No, there's still no goldfish in the house, although we do have peanut butter. It's crunchy and I'm still upset about it, but it's fine. I'm still eating it. Don't worry.
Yes.
And I think sometimes too, you think, when you're looking at those chocolate bars, I'll think, well, that's not going to fix what I need right now or want anyway, too. You know what I mean? There's kind of these different things. Like you don't necessarily have a strong craving anymore, but you're also kind of like, what's that even going to do for me at this point?
Yeah.
So, but sometimes then I'm like, I really want some chocolate. And that still occurs, but I'm not one that like I'll just have a square and it's fine. So you just kind of have to, Kim and I were talking about this earlier, I think in the post, about something sweet that you want, that you won't continue eating, that you can eat a little bit and then move on.
Yeah, I think Lily, it was frozen grapes was a great one. And
Yeah.
I also looked up, I was looking up that like chocolate Shakeology will work better for my sweet tooth than vanilla. Like for some reason, the chocolate, like I drink vanilla now every morning, but if I really wanted, if I really have a sweet tooth, I should make that chocolate ice cream or something like that. It would be perfect.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody saw that recipe that Jen Arias posted, but that looks delicious. It's basically like Recover and some almond milk, and then you use xanthan gum to thicken it up so that you can freeze it, and it makes like a soft serve type ice cream feel. So I'm definitely gonna check that one out when it gets hot out here. As you can tell, it's not right now because I'm in a sweatshirt and the high of like 60 today.
It was the other day when you didn't have the air conditioner, right?
Right? It was 93 or something ridiculous. It was so dumb.
So we
I
were
had
talking.
I had an iced cafe latte today with my Shakeology and it was delicious.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yum.
We
Without
were
all the
talking
sugar.
about adapting to like just general food things. And I know you talked about ordering like meal service. And Jamie, just to your point, one thing that I've started doing, because I found that when I would get the stuff to make the dinner, then dinner time would happen. And I would open the refrigerator and I would look at all of the contents that had to be whipped up into dinner. And I would be like, I'm not doing this. And then we would order takeout. So we found a meal service and they deliver our dinners. And so we have dinner, like it just comes and it plans. Although today I did eat my dinner for lunch because I didn't plan properly yesterday, but it's fine. And so I found it that's been really helpful. Just having those dinners. The company's Ideal Nutrition. It's a local company, but I guess like, there's a lot of local like meal prep services that will build to specific dietary restrictions if you have any.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed, and the food's fantastic. Like I've been very impressed. And I've seen some really great results as a result of having that for dinner and lunch too. And okay, yeah, I do eat their blueberry muffins for breakfast. It's fine. They're good.
Well, I love to cook. You know, I want to cook. I love to cook. I think actually more than the grocery shopping thing, my biggest frustration is my kitchen is like the size of a closet. I have like no counter space whatsoever. Sorry, that's my dog. Stop. But I'm in the process of trying to buy a house. I'm like on the verge of closing on a house, and it has a beautiful big kitchen. So all I'm thinking about is all the meal prepping that I'm gonna be able to do in my beautiful kitchen. But I'm like, my stress level is through the roof right now, waiting to hear from the bank. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that, girl. Well, sending good prayers your way that this goes as smoothly as possible. Anything in real estate right now is abysmal, so I don't take that away from you.
I'm gonna mute because my dog is barking.
Okay. All right. So let's one last piece to talk about with this restart is setting your goals. So we talked about things that were roadblocks in the past, how we could make things easier for ourselves, and then what would be the one thing you could focus on that's going to make the most change for you right away. So and part of that's just feeling some victory, right? Just feeling like you can manage something. So finding that one thing that you can affect change immediately really helps in your mindset to continue. And so setting those goals. So think about when you're setting goals, it does need to be attainable. It should, with fitness, it should be a little uncomfortable. With nutrition, it really needs to be doable. And you need to work in some grace and patience because you're learning something different than you had eaten before. It's not, you are at this place because of all the things, that you were doing as you have gone through this life. And some things you have to unlearn. Some things you just need to do a little differently, tweak a bit. It doesn't take a lot of change and they'll change. But some things are pretty ingrained. I know if we were to start talking about your childhoods and like, did your parents make you clean off your plate? Did you have to try foods? There's lots of things that like you had put into you from your parents that you may have to kind of unlearn about food now. Or thinking that something because it's labeled healthy doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work in your plan or for you in the quantities you're having it in, right? I mean, all food is fine. It all serves a purpose, but some of them work better for you than others. Some of them help you feel better. And some of them, even if you eat, like, let's say almonds, right? If you're eating 2 cups of almonds a day, that's a lot of calories, right? So that's going to throw your macros way off, even though it's healthy. Okay. So things like that, things that like, so when you're setting your goals, think about, things that you can achieve to feel good about, and then stack on that to keep progressing, to keep things going. I know for me, I'm going to be, I have a small group starting on Monday, and I'm going to be really back in line with making sure I'm actually getting my macros right, because I feel so much better when I'm not just kind of winging it during the day, and to make sure that I'm just tracking my containers. Tracking for me is one of those things that I don't like to be told what to do. And so if tracking feels like that, but I feel better when I'm tracking. So I just have to remind myself, this is me making the decisions, and I feel better when I'm following this plan. So follow the plan.
Yeah, it does feel better when you're following it.
It does, right? And I'm satisfied. I'm not hungry. It's all working well. So what do you guys have some goals that you would want to talk about, or things you want to set, or things you've set in the past that have gone well? We can talk past tense too.
I think for me right now, my goal is just consistency. Just the daily habit and consistency, rather than focusing on the scale, so much or whatever. That's I think if I am able to get a handle on that, then I'll be on track.
Yeah, you have such a great start right now, Jamie. And it sounds like even when you've eaten out, you're making better choices, right? You're doing things where you're still accomplishing the goal, even in situations that may not be, 100% on plan or whatever, but you're still doing it. And that's awesome.
What?
I'll read yours, Kim.
In a few minutes.
21 days of being on track. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I have to travel at the end of that, but I think by that time, hopefully, I'll be in a better place. I will have seen maybe a little bit of results, and it'll keep me on track. And then we'll track the next 21 days after that.
Do you have a travel plan for your nutrition? So like I had to travel, I think it was last month. It was May. I literally had no idea what month it was for a second. That's scary. But when I was traveling, I brought, I like planned out to bring snacks. My husband's like, what are you doing? But I'm going to tell you, I had the last laugh on the plane when he was starving and I was handing him food. So I don't know if you have any plans like that to like take snacks with you. I mean, I forever have food on me. I'm basically a Sherpa. It's fine. But I don't starve. So maybe I'm fun to travel with. But do you have plans to bring food with you, or like to pack your snacks?
Let's see. It's the plane travel or that kind of travel. I ordered the Energizing packets today and beach bars, so I'll have those. But the problem is when I reach my destination, I'll be seeing my dad and his wife in Mississippi, and it's going to be a pretty stressful 5 days. And they like to drink and eat the whole time, so I don't exactly know how that's going to work, but I'm starting to prepare now.
Well, I know when I travel back home, I'm the one who goes so my parents don't like to cook as much as I like to cook. So I volunteer to go to the grocery store and I get foods I know I'll eat. But they always like to eat out a lot too. So, but I always make sure then I have things to for my breakfast or lunch, or we're only eating out once a day. So at least the other meals I can really, be good with, but maybe volunteer to go be the one to go make a meal or grocery shop or something.
Perhaps
So,
they like to go to all their favorite restaurants and bars. They're big drinkers, and they like to go to the restaurants because all the waiters and people know their names, and so
sounds like a fun group.
It is fun. Well, the good thing for me is I don't really have that much of a tolerance for alcohol, so I'll just have one drink and then I'll be like, I'm going to bed, so it might work in my favor like that. But the first time I went to visit them, I it was so stressful that I got up and ran 6 miles. I hadn't been running and I ran 6 miles to get out of the house for an hour. And so it was it was a one out and back. So I just kept running. And then I was like, oh, it's 3 miles. I've got to get back, so, but it's much better now. It's been 10 years. I can handle it better now.
Okay, good.
We're going away this weekend. We have an engagement party in Pennsylvania, so we're staying 2 nights. Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday. So the party's Saturday, and then we'll be going back to my cousin's on Sunday. So I don't want to bring my containers to the party, but I guess I can eyeball things by now.
Yeah, you can eyeball it and fill it with veggies. You can't go wrong with having some veggies and then some bites of the things you want to enjoy. You know what I mean? That's a special occasion too. And
It's
if you
Chinese
feel-
food, I know that.
you know, have your meat, have your breakfast and lunch be, you know, really nutrient dense things.
Mhm.
And then when you go to the party, have the things that you feel you're going to enjoy so that you don't feel like you're missing out or you've been, you know, deprived of something you wanted to enjoy. Because that's just going to be a negative mindset then on your nutrition plan, right? You're going to feel like I didn't get to enjoy this party because I'm on a diet, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how, you know, that's that one party is not going to be the end all be all of your nutritious life, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, put some veggies on there and have some of those things that you wanted to try or that look good, or if you want the dessert, you know,
And then
and
the
feel
hotel
and
has
just feel good about it.
the hotel has the breakfast because it's a bed and breakfast. I know it's a good breakfast.
So you can have
Uh-huh.
some eggs, they'll probably have oatmeal,
Yeah.
you know, they usually have yogurts, things
Mhm.
like that. And a lot of times they'll have plain stuff now. So it's
Yeah.
not filled with sugar and you can add,
Yeah.
add
Because it's a good breakfast. It's not those continental ones where it's all donut.
Right.
So,
and you know, maybe get some extra walks in. If you're in a new area, maybe you want to go see some of the town.
mhm.
That always works for me too. When I'm on vacation, I like to, well, whenever we fly to Summit, when we all get together for Beachbody, my first day there, I just go and I walk the city and see what's around the hotel and just check everything out. And I probably am out for an hour and a half or 2 hours and just walking. And
Oh.
it's just nice. I like to be in a city and see what's around and,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of get to know things.
Hey, Kim, I was gonna say the nice thing about eating out a lot is that you have a choice what you get to eat. You're not served something and then you have to eat it because you're either gonna be rude or.
That's true. Very good point.
So the nice thing about eating out is you get a choice as to, you know, what you're gonna put in your body.
That's right. I can have, I was thinking before I would have fish and seafood, because that's fun to get out and I can't make that very easily at home or very deliciously at home.
I do that too. Yeah, I'll have fish out because we don't make it a lot. Yeah, like other fish other than salmon. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And someone, I can't remember where I saw it. Someone talked about if you know the restaurants they're going to go to, you look at the menu ahead of time and make a decision before you get there. So when you're not hungry, you look at the menu and you decide what's going to be. And then you don't even need the menu. When you get there, you can be like, oh, this is my favorite place. I'm just going to have blah, blah, blah. And then the dad's going to be so impressed that you know what's on the menu at his own restaurant, right?
And you know what? I'm going to order first. I'm going to order
There you
first.
go. Yep. You're like, I'm ready.
That's right.
I did that last week. I went out to eat Thursday night with a couple of friends and I looked at the menu ahead of time and they actually had a section of Simply Grilled. So I got shrimp
Oh,
and
good.
vegetables. And it was like great. It was only 6 shrimp. So that's like one protein. And then there was a bunch of vegetables and it wasn't an overwhelming plate. And it was grilled. So it was good.
That sounds perfect. And Kelly, I like your goal too, the work-life balance. I know you've been working that a lot anyway.
It's wearing on me and definitely I feel like it's kind of aging me too. Aging me, not able to really rest much. So yeah, I've got to do something about it. I'm working on it. See
So
what happens.
I don't want to sound critical, but like, what is one thing you could do to make it better? Like, what's some, like, could you do like the controlled stretches at night? Like, let's nail it down to something you can actually put into place that will help it be better.
Well, I mean, something major I'm working on is completely changing my career. That's like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a huge thing.
fun.
That is a complete huge thing. And that's
Yeah.
probably going to happen in the next, probably a couple of days. I'll make a decision and if I'm going to completely switch. I mean, I'll be open with y'all. Lily knows this, and maybe some of y'all. I'm looking at buying a fitness studio.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
Completely different than government work.
That's so
Yeah,
exciting.
wow.
Yeah, so I will be in basically the same industry y'all are in, but I mean, this is something I've always wanted to do, but I've got to make the right decision. So I know that'll be work, but it will be my work and I'll own it versus having to report to somebody else. So, but we'll see. We'll see
When
what
any of us visit Texas, we'll come to your
Yeah,
gym.
right. We're all going to Dallas to work out with you.
Well, yeah, come on in. I mean,
We'll be your
talked
guinea
to Lily
pigs.
to see how Beachbody could be part of that. I mean, if anything, so we'll just see. We'll play it by ear. But yeah, I've got a lot of homework on my part. I've got to look at some financial information that I finally got as of last night. I've been asking for this for over a week. And so with the current owner, and if this doesn't work out, I've got another option too. So that's kind of something that I've always wanted to do. But to answer your original question, what are some things that I can do? I have been listening to, because I did switch programs. I'm not doing off the wall anymore. And that was kind of, you were talking about, you know, when you kind of get stopped in your tracks, what do you do? Well, I was kind of losing strength and just enjoyment in my workouts, that I went back to MBF and doing the Bardland hybrid. And I'm enjoying that really a lot. But what I like is the little 4-minute affirmations that Elise does.
that's so
It's
good.
like she's talking to me like, Kelly, go by the studio. You know what I mean? Because it's like, be creative, be, be courageous. There's, be ambitious. I've listened to like several of them already, but it just kind of gets you out of like, what can you do different daily? And it's just good to kind of clear the negativity, because I feel like I'm negative all the time. I'm unhappy. I cry. Well, actually, I have to say this is the second week that I don't cry every day, but there was one week, and there was other things going on too, that I was just crying and crying and crying and crying. I just couldn't stop. I don't want to live like that anymore. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just want some work-life balance, and even kind of like I feel like when I'm thinking about owning a studio and even putting my business plan together, that didn't feel like work to me. That felt like, oh, I'm being creative. I'm putting my thoughts on paper. It was fun. So it's just, I don't know. I want it to be reality somehow, but it's got to be successful too. So we'll see.
That sounds really exciting, and you're taking steps to create something you want to do, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So I will keep
Fill your tank up.
Yeah.
I'm going to chime in on that. I'm a business owner. I own a massage therapy clinic,
Oh,
and I launched in February of 2019. And I will tell you, it's the most scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life, because I'm not married and I had nothing to fall back on financially. But I just jumped in. It was either sink or swim. Is either it's now or never. Whether and it was my dream forever, and I did it. And I think I had a lump in my throat for about the first 6 months. But eventually it did take off, and now it's stabilizing, and it's totally worth it.
oh, great.
That's
Congratulations.
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm in the same boat too. I don't have somebody to bail me out. I'm divorced, and if I'm going to invest, it's my money that I basically have saved the last 20 years of my life. And I know I can go get a loan, but yeah, it's scary. It's a very scary thing to do. So it needs to be done the right way. The other thing too is I tell myself if I do it and I fail, it won't be the end of the world, because anybody that knows me, they're not gonna let me starve. I'm not gonna be at the street corner, you know, begging or selling my body or anything like that. But but you know, I will be okay. So yeah.
See, I was in the same place. It was like, okay, you know, the worst that can happen is I fail. You know, which one would be worse, failing or the regret of not trying? And for me, it was, you know, the latter. So I was just like, just went for it. I had $200 in my bank account when I opened my business, and I did not take out a loan. I started literally from ground zero. So it can be done.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to regret not trying.
Yeah.
Because I think the stars are almost aligned that I should pull the trigger and do it, because I might not do it, you know, even a year from now or 5 years. I mean, 10 years from now, I think I won't be old, but I think I would probably just say, you know what, I'll just stay in my government job and finish the next 10 years and then I'll be retired. So, I mean, I'm kind of in that point in my life midway that, okay, I already did this 20 years. I want to do this next for the next 20 years, you know? So.
I love it. I think that just sounds exciting, and you're clearly excited about it, because the way you're talking about it, you're super excited about it, which is awesome.
I am. And I'm not trying to make an emotional decision. I know people keep reminding Kelly, I know you're unhappy, but don't make it about the emotions. And I'm like, I know, I try not to. I'm trying to truly be smart about it. So Lily gave me, like, I talked to her, I know she's on 2 minutes, like this morning, she's like, look at this. I was like, okay, I got it. I know. Yes, exactly. So it's good to have people say that to you so you don't forget. So yeah.
Love it. And way to go, Jamie. Fantastic.
Thank you. I'm just trying to give encouragement because I've been where you're at. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly. Kelly. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been exactly where you're at. I was absolutely miserable. I was overworked. I was just, it was just all bad. It was taking a toll on my mental health and just my health in general. And I was just like, you know, this is my dream. You know, I'm getting older, and it's like now or never. And I just went for it, and it was the best decision that I ever made. My motives are different. That's the key. You know, where before I was chasing the money and the status and climbing the corporate ladder. And when I achieved that, I found out my ladder was leaned up against the wrong building. And where my motives now is to help people, which is why I went into massage therapy, and it's so much more rewarding, and it's no longer about the money, and my life is much happier.
Oh, good.
Oh, I love this.
That's so nice to hear.
Being happy is worth so much money, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
In your life.
Lifestyle.
It's worth
right?
so much.
Part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
I talk to my kids about that all the time. I'm like, you know, you can get a job and you can open a business or you can do whatever, but you have to figure out how you want to live and what you want your life to look like. And if you want time for extracurricular or what you're going to do and how you want it to be, it's, who knows?
We've been having that conversation with our kids a lot lately about, since my goal is to try not to drink wine for the next 7 days because we have 7 days of school left. So my goal is to.
You do too. Yeah, I'm with you.
So, and I bought some snacks that I don't normally buy, but they seem a little healthy. I haven't tried them before, but so I'm trying different things instead of having a glass of wine or two. So till we get out of school. So
I love it.
Have you tried it? Have you tried these ones before?
I haven't, but I've made my own crunchy chickpeas and they're pretty good.
Well, I like, I like spicy things, obviously. So,
Yeah.
and the carb to fiber to protein ratio seemed pretty good.
Yeah, it should be. 'Cause
18
chickpeas are pretty good.
Yeah, 18 grams of carb to 5 grams of fiber to 6 grams of protein, and 4 grams of fat. So, and organic chickpeas is the actual first ingredient, which is always good. So, and then I also bought this one, which I don't know, Marianne, is this one you've tried?
Are those
I
the
haven't
chips?
tried that.
Beverly?
No, it looks good though.
Yeah, it's they're fava beans, which I used to have. My mom, we grew them when I was growing up, but they were all she would steam them and they would turn into mush, which was not my favorite way of having them. So but this is sriracha. They have a couple different kinds, so I figured I'd try these as well. So
I feel like so
since-
many of us were scarred as children by our parents not knowing how to properly cook vegetables. I sometimes
Right?
think about that. I'm like, oh man, like my mom used to just pour it out of a can and throw butter on it, which is fantastic. But then I learned about like fresh vegetables, and those were good too.
Yeah. I think my mom cooked everything for extra long just to make sure it was done, and then it was like super mushy.
Yeah.
So,
My mother
which
was
is
the best cook in the world. She was great. That's my problem. I can't live up to it.
well, my mom was always super busy. She raised us by herself, so that's
Oh.
She did the best that she could, raising 3 kids by herself. So
Okay.
getting dinner on the table was one of the
Uh-huh.
last things that she did in a very busy day. So there is that reason. So
I survived
But,
off
yeah,
Bach
except for-
macaroni and cheese and
Except for-
Chef Boyardee, so I'm still kicking.
except for asparagus. She always got it in the can. I didn't know you could buy it fresh.
Huh.
I love asparagus.
grilled asparagus is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So good.
I could have that. I could have that probably every meal. Or
Who-
I've done it in the air fryer lately. And it's
Who has
delicious.
who can tell that their pee changes smell when they have asparagus? Because it's only supposed to be like 30% of people. Okay, because I don't. My husband swears by it.
30%?
Yeah, it's not a very high percentage. It's that can actually sense it. And it's literally like pretty instantaneous. It's a chemical reaction that happens.
Really?
So are we like mutants or something?
I don't know. I mean, I
Oh,
smell,
that's
smell
funny.
coffee more than I ever smell asparagus. So maybe I'm having too much coffee,
Wow.
No such thing.
right?
I agree.
Well, does anybody have anything else they want to talk about real quick? Because we're already at 6:00. We kind of just did our talking points today.
Oh, it's pet day tomorrow? So
Pet
that-
day tomorrow. So take a picture with your pet or your husband or your kid, whoever you want to call your pet for the day,
Or a stuffed animal.
or a
a
stuffed
picture of
animal,
the
or
animal.
yeah, whatever you want, really. We just like to see the sweaty selfies. We don't care.
Yeah.
We really don't care. It's
Who
just
Who
part of the
sets the
fun.
themes? Who sets the themes?
Well, we talk about it on our coach call, and we just kind of throw out ideas and then try to get things that are different than the last months we've had.
Okay.
So if you have a suggestion, we are always open to suggestions on a theme.
Okay.
The next one after that, this one is with family. So it's like family day. So you can take a picture with someone in your family that you worked out with. That was it. We're going to encourage people to work out with somebody in their family on next Friday. And then after that, crazy sock day, I think
Yeah.
is what the schedule is.
Yeah.
And
I
then
will
if you
say
have,
out of all,
what,
I'm
Jamie?
sorry. I was just going to say out of all the nutrition calls that we've had or that I've been a part of, this has been the most helpful to me
Oh, good.
because I've been, stopping and then, restarting, stopping, restarting. And it's been, frustrating. And I'm glad to know that I'm not alone in that.
You're
struggle.
100% not alone there. Literally can't tell you how many times I've restarted. It's an insane number.
Wow, it's good to know.
The nice thing though is every time you get right back on track, like anytime I get back on track with the containers, it works every single time.
Time.
So-
Every time.
It does. You think
Like
we would
that.
learn?
Counting on it, counting on
But
it.
it's not, it's science.
Yeah.
I'm like really weird because I don't ever look at it as restarting. I just never, I mean, like this entire time I've been doing some version of eating differently for 13 years. And I just look at it as like, I just do my best. And then if I have a season where I'm not doing as good, I'm just not doing as good.
I think
And then
that's
I
where
just-
I'm at now too, Bev, because it's like when you get really consistent, you just realize you have these seasons, right? You just have
Yeah.
these times that
Yeah.
aren't as great, but you're still in it.
Yeah, it's like ebbs and flows. And then like, so like Kathy, you're going on this trip, and what it would be for me, and kind of like Mariana, I bring a bunch of stuff. Like we just went to Branson and we were the only family that literally brought our breakfasts, our lunches, our shakes, and we brought some makings to be able to make dinners. And everybody else, they all went to Walmart to shop. It's like we all drove here. Like we all drove within a couple of hours. Like whatever, but so I bring as much as I can bring. I try to do my best to remain like on point with foods that will make me feel good on most of the meals. And then if I go out and, we went to Dairy Queen and I ate custard. I ate custard twice, actually. I ate custard and then I ate Dairy Queen while we were gone. And I just don't care. Like, it's not like I'm going to come home and go out and eat Dairy Queen every single day. No, because then I'm not going to feel good. So I also focus on like, when I have had those things, or like, we had drinks a couple nights and I had the custard or ice cream same day. And I'll take notice like, oh, I'm kind of sluggish the next day. And I really take note of how my body is feeling, like how I'm emotionally feeling, how I might be more snippy and more quick to like get irritated with people. I notice like if I'm craving more junk, and I just try to really focus on, okay, how can I get myself away from where I am right now back to where I want to feel good? And then make my decisions on what I want to eat based upon that. Because I know the path to, if I continue down the path where my body tells me I want more sugar, I want more this, that it will take me to like a not good place, like a dark place for me. So I'm very, I like what, I like being able to have my treats and stuff like that. And I never make it be like, oh, well, I quit, or I just know my weight will kind of go like this, and it just is. So
Thanks.
yeah, I have a hard time when we talk about starting and stopping, because that's something that like my clients will say to me, and it's like, but you're still showing up. You're still doing your workouts. They just might not be as consistent, but you're still doing the things. And so, yeah, you're not stopping. Life's still going.
You're right.
still
People
going.
need to give themselves credit too for still being in it.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
it's not, what
Perfect.
they feel is
In
the
their
best.
mind. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And
Exactly.
that's the thing I think we see a lot as coaches is you just have to kind of hang on the best you can through some seasons. And it's
Yeah.
not going to be pretty. It's going to feel messy. And maybe it's only workouts. Maybe it's
Thank
only
you.
whatever. But just keeping your hand in there and just keeping in, especially keeping into the group, it really, when you're ready to be more all in, then you can just jump back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing I love too, I have so many clients come back a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, because we're still here. We're still doing the things. There isn't this quick fix magic potion, right? You're literally just working on your own journey this whole time. And it shouldn't be a negative. That shouldn't sound like you're never going to get there. This is what it's about, right? Figuring out how you feel your best, what works for you. And we have these great women around us to, support and answer and care and just kind of be a part of it all.
And like Kelly just said,
Hey.
it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. You're living it every day. So you got to make and find what works for you in your life.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Yeah, for me, it's a journey. So I think I've been on this journey for years and years, that the kind of like Bev was talking about, stopping and going. I don't have that anymore. I'm just adjusting to whatever's going on in my life, and have good days, I have bad days. So it's just, I couldn't imagine not working out every day or eating, I try to eat on point every day, but I mean, just, I don't want to go to the old lifestyle that I used to have, 15 plus years ago. I wasn't happy then.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's recognizing when you feel good. I love that Bev talked about that, because that's where I'm at a lot of time too. I really recognize how I'm feeling and make adjustments because of that, because I don't want to feel like I used to, or, I know how good I can feel. So it's like, I don't want to revert.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of brings me back into like what I talked about earlier, that I'm going to get back dialed in on tracking, and because I know I just feel better.
Mm.
well, and starting for me, I guess, or restarting for me is more, for me personally, is tracking my food portions, because I tend to overeat. So I know for me, when I get back on track, I'm being much more focused on my portion size. Maybe not so much what I'm eating, because I feel like I eat pretty healthy, but it's more that I'm maybe getting more in tune with how much portion I'm eating.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by getting on track for me, but it's different for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
some people get off track and because they're eating sugar all day long, or they're eating too many handfuls of nuts, or they're, whatever it might be. So it's, I guess it's different for everybody for sure.
Mm.
So, but I, Kim, I bring an entire whole suitcase with me. When I went to Hawaii, I brought an extra suitcase full of Shakeology and my Recover and my digestive. And so it's totally okay to bring all that stuff with you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I could get I couldn't remember if I could get the Energize, an opened Energize through with my purse. So I bought.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You for sure can.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I
Because
think
it's
you might
not
be able to
liquid.
even if it's open.
You can do it if it's open.
I
yeah.
think so. Yeah. Cause I don't think there's any
I
restriction.
thought
on
I had
powder.
done it before, and then I thought how terrible it would be if they took it away, that I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh no, I can't go.
Oh, no.
Somebody'd have you on video on YouTube, this woman having a breakdown because they took her pre-workout.
Yeah.
I figured it was safer to like get some packets just in case.
The next wake up call, Carl's like, guys, if they take your Energize at TSA, please don't freak out.
Yeah, just remember the restriction's liquid, it's not powder. So you can take energy. You can take a Ziploc bag of Shakeology if you don't want to take your whole bag. That kind of stuff. It's just you can get that through. There's no question.
There are some agents that don't know what it is, and they will stop you sometimes, just so
Maybe
you know.
from the glow on your fingers.
Oh yeah, the yellow. Well, I mean, I suppose if it looks white.
I have been thoroughly checked by Tia, a little more thoroughly than I would like, not totally thoroughly, but embarrassingly thoroughly.
Yeah.
Not in a separate room, but so I don't know what it is.
I thought you were carrying cocaine up your bum then, or what?
I didn't go that far. I don't know what set off the thing, but there've been a couple of instances that
Oh, I've been there. I've been
Just,
there. I was wearing a little dinky tank top and a little pair of shorts and heels and my tiny purse, because I was going to visit my husband in Vegas, of course. So I was wearing something very skimpy And of course I got stopped. I'm like, really? Come on. Where am I going to hide anything on here?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh.
We can
All
take a
right. This is
picture?
probably a good place to end it.
We
Oh,
take
yeah.
a Picture?
Where it
Oh, yeah,
goes
picture.
downhill.
We could be on here all night. All right, you guys. Jeez. Very nice. Okay, I'll stick the recording in the group. And if anybody has anything they'd like to talk about next week or future weeks, just yell or put it in the group and we'll get it on there.
Yeah, great call tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It
Yes,
was
thank
good.
you.
Thank you
Glad we
very
got to have this discussion.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank
guys, we'll
you.
see you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.